is brought to you by New Busch Light. It's the easiest drinking light beer around, so make the easy choice. And by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan.
The Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Now let's preview tonight's top 5. Qualifying for her 21st career championship round appearance and bowling out of the number 5 position, it's former U.S. Open champion Carol Norman. Her opponent in match number 1 is 28-year-old Tori Romeo of Van Nuys, California. And Stacy Rider of La Habra, California, looking for her first ever career LPBT title, will be bowling from the middle of the stack here this evening, while Kim Terrell of Daly City, California, will start the finals from the runner-up position. She was the top seed last week. And after 42 games this week, the bowler of the 1980s, Lisa Wagner, will need to win just one game, the title match, in order to claim her 24th career title and $6,000 in first place prize money. Welcome to beautiful Inca Lanes in Yuma, Arizona for tonight's championship round finals of the $35,000 Yuma Open. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to sunny and warm Yuma, Arizona. The San Diego Padres have yet to show, but the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour had a great week here this week in Yuma, and working with me once again is Chris Son. And Chris, Robin Romeo did not make the telecast, but another Romeo did.
Well, Danny, if one of the Romeo sisters don't get you, the other one will. Sister Tori is seated 4th tonight, while Sister Robin, last year's Bowler of the Year, is going to watch from the audience and root on her little sister Tori to hopefully win first place.
All right, so one of the Romeos may come away with the title here this evening. A young lady that also bowled superbly last evening in the position round was Carol Norman. She jumped from 8th to 5th.
She did that, Denny, by bowling a really great game, but she almost gave it right back by opening in the 10th frame. But she did hang on for the 5th place position.
All right, if the crowd has a favorite for the championship round finals this evening, it has to be the young right-hander from La Habra, Stacy Rider.
I think Stacy has stolen the hearts of the people from Yuma. She is such an infectious personality. Everybody really enjoyed watching her bowl, and she bowled very, very well. So I expect her to play well this evening.
Last week's top seed, Kim Terrell, ended up 2nd. That's where she qualifies here tonight, and that experience from the top seed position from a week ago may pay off here this evening.
Kim is learning with every show that she bowls on. She's got a lot of experience, and I know she's hungry because she's been bowling very, very well. So I expect for her to perform well as well tonight.
And regardless of who gets to the championship game, well, they'll certainly have their hands full. Lisa Wagner, the bowler of the 1980s, the all-time leading money winner on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour, is the top seed, and she lost twice from that position last year. She's ready and raring to go here tonight.
Lisa wants to prove that she still has it. She does still have it. She bowled great last night, and she's going to put all of her eggs in one basket tonight.
All right, go after him aggressively. And her husband, Kent, was here all week long. What kind of an effect do you think that had on her play?
Kent helps her by keeping her motivated, she said. They discuss the lane conditions, they argue back and forth, and every now and then he yells at her to keep her motivation and not to feel sorry for herself.
I'll tell you what, he must say the right things because she's been very successful through the years. We'll be coming back with the opening match coming up next between former U.S. Open champion Carol Norman and a young right-hander from Van Nuys, California, Tori Romeo. Everyone to Inca Lanes in Yuma, Arizona. Opening match of the $35,000 Yuma Open Championship. Former U.S. Open champ Carol Norman, and she's thankful to be here, Chris. Position round game, she started in the 8th slot and ended up qualifying number 5.
Denny, she bowled a great game. She had a string of strikes, but she picked a spare in the 10th frame that almost cost her the television show.
Excellent opening shot on lane 35, our championship pair this week, 35 and 36, and she leaves the solid 7-pin. That's no fun.
Well, it's a single pin spare. Single pin spares usually aren't that difficult for a professional player, so she's probably going to fill this frame up.
Interesting thing about Carroll, she did not hit or cross on lanes 35 and 36 in match play this week, so it's the first game that she's pulled on the television pair.
Well, she'll come in without any preconceived ideas, Denny.
Sure.
That's one positive.
Tori Romeo, younger sister of the LPBT's Player of the Year in 1989, Robin Romeo, and if you haven't yet seen her bowl, she is an outstanding player.
She's a very strong player. She's got great stamina. Really comes to the ball well.
And just like Sister Robin opens up with a strike in the championship round.
There's a lot of talent in this family, Denny. You can see right here. She has a 5-step delivery and starts the ball early so that she can get into the swing. She has good knee bend throughout the entire delivery. Gets down, has a higher backswing than some of the players. Extends that ball extremely well, follows through great.
Very animated player. Trying to open up with a double, and she does. So she applies pressure to Carol Norman in the very early stages.
It runs in the family, Denny. Robin knows how to do it herself, so Tori's picked up a few things from her older sister.
Well, it's kind of amazing for Robin. Went 82 consecutive tournaments cashing and missed this week, and then her sister ends up on the telecast. So.
Well, Robin told me that if this was ever going to happen, she wanted to be sitting back there watching.
And now Carol Norman, who really had a tough break in the first with a solid 7, shakes him up a little bit on lane 36, and kind of an interesting move for all the ladies. Basically, they played in at about 12, 13, or 14 between the second and third arrow throughout the entire week. 1 through 10 was about out of bounds, and yet this evening we come to the telecast, and they're all playing from about 6 on out.
There could be a couple of different reasons for that, Denny. Number one, the oil may not have carried down as far yet. Number two, some of the oil may have dissipated because of the lack of humidity here, and the lights make it extremely warm. So we'll just see as we go along tonight.
Ball rolls up nicely, so Carol Norman comes back with a double of her own. And the scores, I think, for the telecast this evening could be much higher, appreciably higher than they were throughout the week.
I agree with you, Denny. I think the line that the players are playing is conducive to all their different games.
Well, they get to the telecast, you had to average 205.7. I don't think 205 is going to win many games here tonight. A little better speed, swishes the rack, but she leaves the soft 10. Tori averaged 199 on lanes 35 and 36 throughout the week. This is her second appearance on ESPN in a nationally televised final. She made the doubles, national doubles, with her sister Robin last year.
So this is her first singles, and it's all on her own. Everything she does is for her.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to Robin just prior to the telecast, and she said, you know, in that doubles competition, Tori outbowled me the whole week. Didn't bowl better than I did on the show, so I'm very happy for her tonight to get an opportunity to go out and show people what kind of player she is.
Tori and Robin are real close. They room together. They get along really well. So I'm sure Robin is going to be extremely happy for Tori no matter what happens tonight, and she'll be back there rooting her on.
Keep in mind, the winner of this game takes on Stacy Rider of La Habra, California. Another lady from out west, Kim Terrell, qualifies number 2, and Lisa Wagner, all-time leading money winner, is number 1 this week. Well, this one's left of target from the get-go. Tori goes quickly and gets a big-time break as Robin and her son look on.
Denny, when she comes through this particular shot, she's going to hang up a little bit in it and extend real far. She tugs it just slightly, and with the back ends hooking, it goes
all right.
Brooklyn.
So a strike in the 4th as Carol Norman trails in this one.
You've seen the hottest-selling Skin Deep calendar. Now you can see some of the world's most beautiful women.
Leading by 1, and she's obviously working on a double. Gets confusing from time to time.
Well, Denny, when there's a lot of strikes, sometimes it's tough to keep track of all those strikes.
I've been confused for most of my life, so what the heck, huh?
Nah.
It looked like she set it down a little bit short, but she got away with it, so Carol Norman with the turkey has come back very strong.
Denny, she did get that down a little bit sooner than the others, but when you do that, the ball rolls sooner. So when it gets to the pocket, it has a whole lot more energy to knock those pins down. We're going to see Carol here. She's also a 5-step delivery, but she starts the ball later and cups that wrist. She gets lower at the foul line. Nice, smooth steps. Really digs in there, and you can see how the ball went down real soon on that particular shot.
And trying to make it now 4 in a row. She leads by 11. Could open up a 21-pin advantage if she strikes here.
Well, it worked last time, so I guess she chose to do it again.
Basically, she could have the first 5, left the solid 7 in the opening frame, and that was probably her best shot of the match.
Probably. That might be the reason, though. She probably extended it a little bit more, and if the ball didn't roll up as much, then that's why she's choosing to put it down sooner.
Welcome to the big time, Tori. Hits the pocket nicely, but once again, it's the half 10 as Robin and her son look on.
That's David, and he's finally getting to watch Mom bowl on television.
I was just going to say, that's not Robin's, that's Tori's.
That's Tori's son. David is 5 years old, and he is so excited about watching his mom. Last night and yesterday afternoon, he's running around. Every time she'd strike, he'd be all excited.
Tori's dad, Ray, was also on hand, so the entire family watching the success. That better hang on. Well, first major mistake in a championship round final for Tori Romeo, and that one will cost her dearly because she trailed by 21 heading into that frame.
Everything looks like it's going okay. She turns the ball a little bit early, and when she extended it, it might have just hit some oil. She knew that. You can see it all over her face.
So an open in the 5th, a costly error. Going to have to try and bounce back. And she does with a beautiful shot, but the ups and downs of match play in the championship round.
It's very costly to open in any frame, let alone when your opponent has got 4 strikes up against you.
Carol Norman right now just breezing through this opening match, leading by 33 from Ardmore, Oklahoma. Never forget how excited she was when she won the U.S. Open.
It was our first big U.S. Open as well,
yeah.
so.
$200,000 event.
$40,000 first place. She was the first one that did it.
Right now, she is running on cruise control as she has thrown a 5-bagger through 6 frames.
She wanted to make sure that they all go down and not stand up like that 7-pin did the first frame.
Well, it's kind of an interesting top 5, Chris, because we have a very experienced in the number 5 position in Carol Norman, and then, of course, one of the all-time greats on top of the stack in Lisa Wagner, and we have 3 real good young players in between.
It seems as though we're getting a better mix out on the tour. More and more younger players want to come out. There's a lot of talent coming out of the junior program, the collegiate program that we've been talking about. So I think you're going to see a lot of new faces on our television shows here.
Fans exhorting yet one more strike, and she leaves the solid 10. Match comfortably in hand, but for Tori Romeo, she still has some room. Still could shoot 247 if she would strike out from the 6th frame.
That would put some pressure on Carol. Tori's sister Robin did the same thing a number of years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago when she won the tournament in Tempe. She shot 3 open frames and then came back with all strikes for 230. So it's in the family.
Oh, yeah, it can happen. So a spare up in the 7th for Carol Norman, who leads now by 42 in game number 1 of the $35,000 Yuma Open.
Kiss? Oh, not right now. You really don't want to kiss me.
Trail by 42.
Well, Denny, Robin was telling Tori that the tough part was getting to the TV show, and this should be the fun part. It's her first time by herself, so she really should just enjoy herself, and of course she wants to win.
A little too much speed, so instead of a double, she'll have to try and shoot the cross lane spare. Yeah, I think you're right. For the younger players, it really is a learning process. You start by trying to cash, and then you go from there to making the finals, and you go from the finals to the telecast, and then you go from making the telecast to winning a couple of games, and maybe even winning a title. And basically, that's the way the scenario goes for virtually every player.
Danny, the old saying that you have to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run is true in everything. So I guess you can liken it to that in the sport of bowling.
And the interesting thing, too, about the championship round is the first time you're on, I mean, the game just blows by. You look up, and it's the first frame, and you look back, and it's the 10th frame, and you just hope you have enough to win.
And then you wonder where it all went.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're having a little bit of trouble like Tori's having, it goes even faster.
Nice thing about this February swing for her, though, is the fact that she made 3 finals in a row, which very solid bowling. Something to build on, get prepared for the big swing in April. Well, she needed a little help from the 6-pin and didn't get it.
It was a pretty good shot. The 6-pin just decided to lay there on top of the 10. She blew the rack. She blew the 5-pin over to the 7, but looks like the 10-pin wanted to fight back.
Match play record this week of 13 wins, 9 losses, and 2 ties, and Robin watched her bowl every game in match play and said, I just was there to offer some advice from time to time if she needed it. I wasn't going to tell her how to play, but it worked more with her mental attitude than anything else. And you see a smile from Ray, not exactly what he was hoping for in game number 1, but I'm sure he's very proud of his daughter.
He certainly is. He was pacing back and forth behind Tori yesterday saying, I don't know if I can take any more of this. He's got double the trouble out here with having 2 daughters out here.
Better to have to worry about them making the finals and the shows than not at all.
That's correct.
Carol Norman leading by 43 and in a position now to just get loose and make good shots. Get prepared. Oh my, what a bad break that is as she swishes the rack on 36 and leaves the 7-10.
The ball looked like it did not finish as hard and as early as it had been because she extended it out. That's called a rip rack 7-10, and most of the professional players hate to see that particular shot because you feel like you made a good shot. It just doesn't finish exactly where it's supposed to.
I guess you could say the older players on the lacquer days, if you threw a shot like that, you might even leave the 5-pin with it.
I think you definitely would leave the 5-pin with it. Here we see Carol making that shot. She seems to have come around the ball a little bit. She did extend a little bit more, and the ball just might have caught a little bit of oil on the carry down. The 5 rips through. Just doesn't take that 7-pin out. You see it finishing right, just a little bit to the right of it. And then, of course, the 6-pin laid in the channel like Tori's did before, so.
And in case you're wondering, a mark in either the 9th or the 10th gives Carol a victory. The best game that Tori could put together would be 216. Carol Norman still leading by 30 and would like to wrap things up. And she leaves another solid 7. What's that do to you mentally, Chris? You've thrown some excellent shots. You leave the 7-10 on one lane, the solid 7 on the other.
If you're not used to this type of competition, if you're not an experienced player, it could get to you, Denny. Somebody like Carol has been here before, so it's not going to, it shouldn't bother her as much as it would someone like Tori who's on the television show for the first time by herself. Carol just needs to keep her wits about her and make this spare. She probably knows that.
Well, Carol Norman with a spare puts herself in an excellent position to finish things up. And we have 4 owners here at Inca Lanes, and here are 2 of the 4. Just a beautiful facility here in Yuma, Arizona. And yes, it's air conditioned.
Definitely has to be air conditioned. My home state, and it's everywhere it's air conditioned.
Oh yeah, beautiful weather here this week. Temperatures in the 80s, and midsummer, it's the average temperature here is like 112, 113.
But it's a dry heat day.
Right, that's exactly right.
It's a dry heat is what we're supposed to tell everybody.
Now the bowling fans here in this part of Arizona have really supported the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour here at Inca Lanes.
This is our 2nd consecutive year, and they really welcome us.
Look forward to it. We've made a lot of friends already just from last year. A little stick at the line, and she's going to pay the price there. So for Tori, an open frame in the 9th, and that's all she wrote. So it'll be a 5th place finish for that young lady from Van Nuys and a check worth $1,500.
Not bad for the first time on national television.
Nope. Started great with the double. When you look at the tape, you just watch the first 2 frames. Rewind.
Well, she'll watch the rest of them and see what the difference was, and she'll use that as a learning experience for next time.
And there's that beautiful grin. She's going to have fun no matter what. I'm sure we're going to see much more of Tori. Now what we have to do is Romeo, Romeo. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? What if they ever bowl each other?
And which
I'm going to quote Shakespeare.
Well, Danny, I don't know about that.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
Because
I've George Smith and Ken Samuel cringing in the truck right now. All right, so if she spares a game of 184, not what she was hoping for when the evening started, but she'll take it.
No, Denny, I don't think that's what she wanted. As long as it was 1 pin better than what her opponent had, it would have not mattered to her. But since the scores look like they're going to be a little bit higher, I don't think she's happy with this.
Kidding her a little bit earlier, I said, Tori, how tall are you? And she said, I'm easily 4 feet 11.
And I'm about 5'9", so I feel like a jolly green giant standing next to her.
Well, Robin is 5'4", 5'5", so Tori just a bit on the diminutive side.
Small but mighty, they say.
Ah, yes. Solid game for Carol Norman, who really had a bad break in the 8th when she leaves the swishing 7-10. Other than that, that's the first time that she has missed the pocket in this match. And what a great feeling to be able to go up and miss the pocket and win with no problem.
There's a lot of relief to a shot like that. The pressure's off. Though you do want to keep, Denny, your pace going, your rhythm going. You don't want to just relax just because you have the match in hand, because you have another match coming up, and yet it starts all over again.
Well, as I mentioned, this is Carol's 21st appearance in the Final 5. Her match play record now, 19 wins and 16 losses. And if she was going to arbitration right now, that would be worth at least $1 million a season. We'll be back with game number 2 between Carol Norman and also Stacy Rider.
Hey.
12 to 184 will now start match number 2, and her opponent, Stacy Rider.
Smiling Stacy.
Breakdown there of the strikes and spares through game number 1. And this time, instead of a solid 7, Carol Norman strikes.
Denny, that time she extended the ball a little bit more than she did before and gave it some nice turn. I think the lanes are beginning to have some carry down. The oil is carrying down, the conditioner is carrying down on them, so she probably needs to make the ball react a little bit more.
Average 221.5 on this pair of lanes did Stacy Rider. Wastes very little time. Gets the cover off it and strikes very quickly.
Stacy has a great follow-through when she gets to that foul line. Well, let's see at the very beginning here. She takes a 4-step delivery and extends the ball on her push-away really far away. Nice, big, long steps to get her to the foul line and deep knee bend. Watch this follow-through. Extension and really, really comes through hard. That's what puts all that extra spin on the ball, Denny.
Almost looks like Walter Ray Williams Jr.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Whiplash effect and let him Monticelli. Sure. Power players got to do that right up the track. Oh, my goodness. The solid 8 jumps up and grabs Stacy Rider in the second. A horrible break after a beautiful shot.
That's your true tap, Denny, for a right-hander. That ball was very well thrown.
The only true tap is a Charlie tap.
Is a Charlie tap, okay. T-A-P-P for Charlie.
That's got to be disconcerting to throw a great shot like that and leave the 8.
Yeah, it really has to be, Denny, because she's all pumped up, and it was a great shot. She knew she made a great shot.
And you want to open the match with a double, jump right on your opponent, get out ahead.
Well, you'd also like to knock down the pins you feel like you've thrown for, so.
All right. Carol Norman with 3 career LPBT titles, as we mentioned, including the U.S. Open.
And her last one was in Tempe, Arizona.
And it was in overtime,
yes,
sudden death.
Was.
Against Donna Adamick. It was a great match.
It was. She had to throw 4 strikes to do it.
And she did. slices and splices the rack.
We have a rip rack shot there. You see Carol's ball coming down the lane. It's beginning to roll. As it hits the pins, everything flies. That 5 flies out over into the 7. Didn't quite get there. Something else took it out first. The
double team.
4-pin got it before the 5-pin got there.
A very quick double for Carol Norman, who had 5 strikes in game number 1 and strung them all together. That's why she got out ahead and comfortably defeated Tori Romeo. You're going to throw strikes. You might as well throw them in bunches.
That's when they help you the best. Look at that trip 4.
Well, you've got it all when you can swish the rack and trip the 4. And so Carol Norman, with 3 strikes, leads by 20 in the early going here of game number 2.
That has to make her loose.
Well, I think she knows if she throws quality shots that she can strike, or at least hit the pocket.
Yes.
Stacy Rider comes right back as her parents look on with approval.
I'm sure they're happy to see that shot go down. After all, she threw the second frame just as well and wasn't rewarded for it, so. She seems to be playing a little bit deeper than Carol. If you take a look at her next shot here, I believe she's playing a little bit closer to where she played during the week. You mentioned earlier that the players moved outside some more for the show here, but she's just a little bit deeper than Carol.
She's in about 12,
Mm-hmm.
11, 12. Just inside the second arrow. And flush in the 4th. And it's a 10-pin lead for Carol Norman as both players are locked in, lined up, and throwing strikes on the championship pair.
Hey, what's with the 2 bottles? You gonna wash your hair twice? Oh, funny.
Number 2, she leads by 10. Keep in mind, though, Stacy Rider is also on a double. Very nice shot for Carol Norman, who really is just on a roll.
Carol is lined in, as we would say out here on tour. She's just got this pair wired. She went home between Louisiana and Texas just a couple of weeks ago and had all of her bowling equipment changed back to what she was using on the 1989 tour. During the break, she explained to me that she changed all of her equipment. She put grips in and did a few different things. So she said that her ball equipment driller, Dennis, did a great job for her and wants him to know that she's real happy with it right now.
For those of you at home, this is how Chris and I get a chance to view the ladies. And the view right now looks mighty good. And I'm sure from where Carol Norman is seeing game number 2, it looks terrific. She has the first 5.
She has the first 5, and they all went down exactly like they were supposed to as well.
Pretty much.
She's making great shots, Denny. She's got a lot of area, as we saw from the trip 4. Every one of her strikes have been just a little bit different, but they've all gone down.
Back to live action. Stacy Rider takes out the 4. The 9-pin will not go, and so it's a double and 9.
That shot was just a little bit higher into the pocket. She must have missed it a little bit to the left. She might have missed her target a little bit to the left. She was lucky to have tripped it. She could have gotten lucky and tripped a 9 as well, but...
You might also add that she was lucky to get the 4 out, huh?
Yes.
Sure.
She was lucky to have tripped that.
Very aggressive player. She's not going to leave any of it in the bag.
No. She's going to give you everything plus probably another 10%. She'll find it from somewhere.
Well, she has 2 fifth-place finishes thus far in her LPBT career. She will win a title here, I would say, within the near future.
No, I don't think it'll be very long at all, Denny.
And when she does win, she's really going to be a tiger.
She's quite a tiger now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows how, quote, feisty she is. That's what they say about her. She's got a lot of drive, and she knows exactly what she wants to do.
Well, she leaves the solid 8 in the second, and then leaves a kind of a funny 9. Comes back and strikes again at 6. So really, for all intents and purposes, Stacy might be working on a perfect game.
Without that 8-pin, and if she had a little luck on the trip, there's your solid shot.
5-pin wiggled a little bit, and at the last moment, might have been the 4-pin. 7-pin drops, and Gets a strike in the 6th. Carol Norman now shooting in the 6th, and she has the first 5. Fans are asking for one more, and one they get. Unfortunately, it's the 10-pin.
That's not exactly the one more they wanted. They wanted one more strike, not one pin.
Well, it's the second game in a row that Carol Norman has strung together 5 consecutive strikes.
Well, strikes are always best when they're together.
Keep in mind, Kim Terrell of Daly City, California is our number 2 seed. She is next in line. And at the top of the hill this week, Lisa Wagner of Palmetto, Florida. Well, just like Tori Romeo did in match number 1, Carol Norman misses the 10-pin on lane 36, and there must be considerable lane conditioning, or conditioner, I should say, in the middle of the lane on 36, as both players have thrown it in the channel.
Both shots, Denny, look like they just hit a little bit of conditioner and sailed to the right there. You thought that for a quick second it might have held on, but just not enough rotation. The oil, the conditioner is carrying down, so we might see more of that. I'm sure the players hope they don't, but
she leads by 18 after the miscue. Comes back strong, though, with a strike in the 7th. So it's an 18-pin lead for Carol Norman. But Stacy Rider is working on a strike, and when she is all said and done, she may just grab the lead here in Yuma.
You've seen the hottest selling skin deep calendar. Now you can see some of the world's most beautiful women in the dazzling new video. 2500 now. That's 1-800-767-2500. Enjoy 1990 for years to come. Call 1-800-767-2500.
Yet to win a match in the championship round. She finds herself down by 18, and that one is out the window.
Denny, that one looked like it must have just hit that conditioner that was in the center of the lane.
Didn't look like she threw it very well to me.
No, that didn't help either.
No, kind of stood up on this one a little bit.
She went around that ball a little bit, and she tugged it a little bit as well. It's kind of a line adjustment that players make unconsciously. And it looks as though when you do that, the oil is out there, the conditioner's in the center, and it's not going to cross it.
No problem with the spare, but she didn't take advantage of the strike in the 6th, and she is running out of time.
A double right here would have really helped her. It would have put her back into the game a little bit more solidly.
Well, if she strikes in the 7th and the 8th, she'd have taken the lead.
Mm-hmm. Then it would have been up to Carol when she got up to do something with it, but
Carol Norman does nothing but strike. Doesn't make spares and throws a couple of splits, but she's definitely throwing the strikes here this evening. If you're going to do anything, that's what you want.
Throw enough of them, you don't need to spare them.
Beautiful shot for Stacy Rider, who probably wishes she had the shot back in the 7th, but you can't think about yesterday.
She made a really great shot this time, Denny. The ball hits the pins, and you can see everything was going to go down, and she was pretty happy with it. Yes.
You can never tell what she's thinking.
No, never, Denny. That smile is from ear to ear.
Up and at it. Ball holds the pocket. So Carol Norman, who started with the first 5 and then missed the 10-pin, has bounced back with a double. She leads by 28, and she could send Stacy Rider packing with one more.
Well, Stacy won't be too unhappy. She did say that after the first round, when she was in first place, she wished the tournament could end right there. But we all knew we had a few more games to bowl after that.
Well, Stacy was first heading into the final 8 games last night. Couldn't quite hang on to the top seed position, but she did qualify in a solid number 3 slot.
She said she got a little bit nervous and started playing defensively rather than as aggressively as we're accustomed to seeing her bowl.
Well, she's only 21. Still has a long way to go professionally. And a fortunate shot for Carol Norman, who might have left the baby split on the left-hand lane, chased out the 10-pin, and just the 3 remains.
A fairly routine spare, although she hasn't had very many shots at spares, Denny, so who knows if this is fairly routine for her.
Well, if she spares and strikes out, she would have a game of 246. Just to update you, Stacy Rider, if she would take it off the sheet, could still shoot 239. So this one is far from out of the woods. Stacy Rider has called for a re-rack. I don't know if it's to buy time or if she doesn't like the way things are looking on lane 36. Gives us time, though, to mention the fact that this is the final stop of the 4-event February tour. And, of course, the ladies will be back on April 5th, Thursday night live at 7:30. And that event, of course, is in Hammond, Indiana. Or is it Hoffman?
It's Hoffman,
Illinois. Okay.
Yes.
I knew it was in the Midwest.
Yes, it's in the Midwest someplace.
Yeah, you looked at me kind of strange when I mentioned that. Hammond's in the fall, right?
Yes, Hammond's in the fall.
Got ahead of myself. Oh, my. Through the nose. And the 4-7 is left. And that's about it as far as hope is concerned as well.
When Stacy doesn't seem to stay down with the ball, she tends to pull it a little bit. So the ball's higher, as you can see, goes up through the center. She's lucky to have carried that 10-pin out of there. It could have been a 4-7-10 split.
And with this spare and 3 strikes in the 10th, she will at least force Carol Norman to mark in the 10th to win the match. A little disgruntled there, realizing that she gave away that shot in the 9th. Could have really put some heat on.
She could have. She could have forced Carol to do something like double in the 10th frame in order to keep herself alive if she had gone off the sheet.
Important thing now, though, take it one shot at a time. That's left of target and through the nose, and pretty much all she wrote as far as Stacy is concerned. A very good start, and not quite what she wanted in the 9th and the 10th. Had an opportunity to apply a little heat and just couldn't make the shots that she wanted.
She's going to be able to get home and say hello to her niece and nephew Summer and Sean before I get a chance to tell them that over the air here tonight.
4th place finish for Stacy Rider, who shoots 193, and Carol Norman has been in a position where she has bowled so well in the first 3 quarters of every match that she's been able to just kind of go through the 10th frame and make a couple of adjustments.
That's actually the way you want it to be.
Sure.
It's a lot easier that way than to have to put pressure on there in the back end.
And she's on a roll right now. Betty Morris was, 4th, heading into the position round game.
4th,
Last night, and ended up in the number 6 position. Defending champion from a year ago, Cheryl Daniels, was 7th.
She had a shot at the television show, and going down, there's Jill Albrecht from last week as well. Jan Schmidt, Jeannie Maiden.
Judy Sutar in the number 18 position.
Donna Hazel, we haven't seen her out too much, but she made the finals this week.
So Carol Norman wraps up her 2nd consecutive win, and she will head on now to the semifinal game to take on Kim Terrell of Daly City, California.
Each week, relive the amazing shots, the devastating losses, plus player profiles and more. Inside the PGA Tour, Wednesdays on ESPN.
Well, Carol Norman has averaged 229 for the first 2 games. She's already defeated Tori Romeo. Stacy Rider next in line. Is she going to notch another one here in Kim Terrell?
Well, she's lined up, Denny. She's got the possibility of being able to do that. She has 3 open frames also.
Well, she either strikes or opens. Yeah, you're right. 10 strikes in game number 2. And she picks up right where she left off. And she strikes in the opening frame. But Kim Terrell, I think, struck on every one of her practice shots. So she has a very nice shot coming off a marvelous week last week when she was the top seed. Let's see how she tries to take on Carol Norman.
With strikes, I hope.
Yeah, better not waste any time getting them. Oh, my. A little explosion on lane 36.
We have a little bit of a swish the rack. The pins went every which way they could just to get out of the way of that bowling ball. She's
telling
playing
you, that was exit stage left and right that trip.
everywhere.
Very explosive player.
Yes, she is. She's very methodical, though. We mentioned that last week a few times. She goes through the same routine. She's very businesslike in her approach to her bowling.
Best match play record of our television finalists this week, 16-7-1. And very nearly defeated Lisa Wagner in the position round game last night to be the top seed. Oh, how about some help from the head pin? Kind of runs out of gas as she leaves the soft 10.
That one looked like it was a little bit faster down the lane, Danny. She had a little more speed on that.
A little more adrenaline.
A little more adrenaline. I also believe that the left lane this week was hooking a little bit more than the right lane, so that might have been in the back of her mind. If that's how she found the lane, she may have wanted the extra speed.
Ten pin has not been easy tonight. This one skids off at 50 feet. And that's the third 10 pin we have seen missed as Owens, Terrell, Kim's dad, coming down to watch the finals in this one.
She talked to him last night and made it kind of clear to him that it would be real nice if he could come down and give her a little encouragement here.
That's what fathers are for.
You bet.
Very proud of his daughter. And rightfully so.
Here we're going to see how Kim misses this 10 pin. And Denny, I think it's she went around the ball a little bit earlier than she should have. Plus, there's an awful lot of conditioner in the center of the lane. It sounds like an old song again, but that seems to be what it is.
Telling you what, you need a snorkel out there.
Snorkel and a wetsuit.
Fins.
We saw oil all over everything when the balls came back during the practice session.
I'm telling you what, you better not arc it much if you're shooting at the 10 pin. And Carol Norman doesn't hook it as much as any of the other players in the finals. And so she finally makes a 10 pin. A round of applause.
She actually has had the experience of missing it as well on that lane. So once you've made a shot and you've missed it, then you should be able to adjust to it. That was a perfectly made 10 pin. It hit the pin right dead smack in the center. When she missed her previous 10 pin, it was just by a little bit anyhow, Denny, so she only probably needed to make a 2-board move to the right or so.
So much different bowling in the championship round on national television than it is just competing either in qualifying or in match play. Ball rolls up, sets up, and it's a strike in the third for Carol Norman, who leads by a dozen.
When you're bowling in qualifying, Denny, you know you have still 24 more games of match play. When you get to the television show, there's 10 frames, not games, frames staring you at the face.
Kim has averaged 210.3 in her appearance in the championship round, 3-3 overall in match play. Gonna come right back. Good shot. Kind of wiggles the 10 momentarily. She'll get another opportunity.
She will have gone to school on what she did the last frame. So.
Talking to some of the players, many of them throughout the week will use a spare ball as well, but lanes were fairly tight here this evening and plenty of oil in the middle, so no need to go to this hard spare shooting equipment. They're having a hard time keeping the hooking balls on the lane.
You can really trust it this time, Denny.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to hook away at any of these 10 pins.
Throw it right at it.
In fact, let's go as straight as we can.
Yeah, we're not kidding. She's got to make the adjustment and realize there's just plenty of conditioner in the center of the lane. You got to throw right at the 10 pin right now.
Almost directly straight. This is her 10 pin shot, and you see it coming over towards the channel, and there's just not enough lane left, and there it went.
I think she was very surprised because she made the adjustment, didn't belly the ball nearly as much, and still ended up missing the 10. So it's back-to-back 9 outs for Kim Terrell. Not what she was hoping for, and she trails by 23. The best way to make the 10
is to strike.
There you go.
Like that.
So an X in the fourth, but the damage has already been done. A carbon copy miss in the second and in the third. And Carol Norman leads by 23. Folks that are involved in owning this marvelous bowling center, Inca Lanes in Yuma, Arizona. Nancy Bryan and Jerry Thomas.
They make us feel so welcome here.
Oh, yeah. I was kidding them all a little bit about the baseball strike, and they're all very concerned. A lot of people involved. The Padres train here in Yuma. Not much fun. Everybody hoping that they get back to the table and start playing some baseball. Meanwhile, Carol Norman just keeps pitching strikes.
She seems to know where to pitch them. That one went to a little bit to the right of where she's been playing. I was wondering if it was going to get back, but it did.
Well, I guess you could say that Carol Norman certainly knows the strike zone.
Oh, great, the strike zone.
Thank you.
Very good, Denny.
You're going to give me credit for that,
I'll give you credit for that one.
I'm just in that baseball feeling right now.
Spring fever. She seems to have gone a little bit to the right, Denny. She's playing like around 5 or 6. That one seemed to have hit 4. But she had plenty of fingers on it and lots of lift, so the ball came back.
And the key as well, a double in the 3rd and the 4th. She opens up a 33-pin lead, and she has done nothing but lead in every one of her matches. Now trips out that 4, Billy Hardwick style, and she has taken command here in the semifinal game.
Carol seems to know where she wants to put the ball, and she's going out there and just doing it. She does it enough, it keeps knocking the pins down, so why not keep putting it there?
Well, she's bowled from the number 5 position 5 times in her career. Finished 4th twice and 5th 3 times, so she's never really climbed up the ladder. Kim Terrell, if you take a look at the break point on that ball, it's about 55 feet, and the ball just doesn't seem to be getting into the kind of roll that she needs to slap that 10 out.
No, she needs it to start just a little bit sooner. The ball is finishing just a little bit behind the head pin, which is putting the 6 pin into the channel, and it's making it kind of lackadaisical and not doing its job and getting that 10 pin out.
All right. I
Weak
wouldn't
10.
normally say this, but no problem with this 10 pin.
I'm not going to bet on anything on these corners here tonight, Denny.
Uh-oh. Double dribble is called. No turnover, however, as her dad looks on with a big grin and says, all right, we double dribbled, but we finally knocked down the 10.
I guess we know how to do it now. We have to double dribble with it.
Somebody please tell Kim that she doesn't need to give it the old double hopper.
She was going to make sure that that ball got there and stayed on the lane if she was going to tug it in herself.
She was going to tug it and lay it down behind the line. And, well, we can have a little fun. She's obviously not feeling too good at this point, but let's see if she can come back here. There's some time left if she could string some strikes. That's more like it. Kicks out that 4-pin, so it's a strike in the 6th for Kim Terrell, who trails, though, by 43, and working on 3 in a row is Carol Norman.
Carol seems to be very focused this evening. Her concentration seems to be wonderful.
And she also seems to be very relaxed, but one tends to get relaxed when you throw strikes like she has. She's got a nice shot.
Yes, she does. She's got a wonderful shot. It looks very close to the same shot when she won in Tempe.
Something we don't. She set that one down, and at 15 feet they were applauded.
I guess they're just so expecting of her to strike that everything Carol's thrown is a strike, so they might as well start early. This one is awfully light in the pocket. Look where that ball finishes.
Awfully light. Look at the wind. The wind of the ball going by wiggled the 5-pin.
Well, a few of them came off the wall, and she's really happy about that one.
She's embarrassed. Look at her. She's blushing. If we could see the other side, she'd be blushing right now. But she'll take the strike in the 6th and the 53-pin advantage. She has yet to be challenged. Will Lisa Wagner provide that in this championship game?
That's the question there, Denny.
Oh, good shot there. It leaves the solid 10. That's what drives you wacky about the wonderful world of bowling. You throw a Ginzu shot on the right-hand lane that's got no chance to strike, and you do, and then you come back, fingers lift, leverage, friction, coefficient, all that stuff.
And the 10 pin.
And you get a solid 10.
There is just no justice in this game. I think that's what brings people back, because you cannot totally ever conquer this game.
That's right.
It gets you every time.
Just when you get a little confident and you feel loose, something happens. Stay on the lane. No problem with the 10 that time. And Carol Norman leads by 52. We'll be back with a conclusion after this.
You've seen the hottest selling skin deep calendar. Now you can see some of the world's most beautiful.
Working on a strike in the 6th. A double here might soothe the wounds. That's the shot she was looking for.
She really extended that one well, Denny. No weak 10 on that particular shot. The ball got into the roll a little bit earlier because of the extra extension and more fingers.
All right, if she would string them together all the way out, could shoot 227.
Carol's going to have at least 229. She stays clean.
And there we take a good look at the board. Carol Norman's done a brilliant job of stringing strikes in all 3 of her matches. Undaunted by the big lead, Terrell comes right back and strings together 3 of her own and cuts the lead now to 32.
Well, Denny, she knows she has to throw strikes right now. There's nothing else that's going to help her.
And this is what's on top this week, $6,000 and $3,000 for second. That's what these 2 young ladies are competing for right now. Lisa Wagner, keep in mind, our top seed waiting in the wings. Another ringing 10, this time on lane 36. Still a possible game in the 240s, 248 for Carol Norman, so she is in control one way or another, no matter what Kim does. However, if Kim Terrell would strike out and shoot 227,
she put some pressure on
you
Carol.
Bet.
Definitely to make spares, at least, at the minimum. And
hasn't
get good
felt
count.
A lot of pressure thus far this evening.
None at all.
Not in the late stages.
They're giving her a big hand just for making the 10-pin tonight, Denny.
Well, spare shooting is an integral part of the game, and so many times players just work so hard on strikes, and then they get to the championship round, they make a couple of mistakes with the spares.
I think professional players more than anybody tend to ease off on spares because they take them for granted, and that's not something that we should do, but that is something that happens frequently because you shoot them so routinely and you just really don't think a lot of times when you should.
It's like the pros missing a 2-foot putt. You just get up there and hit it because you know it's going in, and next thing you know, you're staring at bogey. Carol Norman trying to end things a little early. Kim Terrell just praying for some hope right now. But a strike there in the 9th really puts Carol Norman in an excellent position.
The only thing Kim can do is strike. She has to strike.
Well, if she would strike out, it would be a game of 227, which would force Carol Norman to come up with 20 pins in the 10th frame to win. First things first. Well, it was Thumbhole City on the right-hand lane, but we've seen a little bit of everything from Kim Terrell here tonight.
Well, Denny, that shot, she really wanted to extend down the lane, and I think she extended it rather well. You can see how she really reached there and turned the ball at the same time. So the ball didn't exactly react as early as she wanted to, but all that additional rotation makes the pin spin. And you can see she was pretty happy about it, too.
That baby was revving up.
It was, yes,
I could have gone another 40 feet.
I don't know about 40 feet.
You don't think?
Well, maybe 35.
All right. One more time, and now she's got the funky release going. Can't get it off the thumb hole, but if you're throwing it well, it doesn't make much difference.
I don't think she cares right now, Denny. She sees 10 pins in the pit, and that's all that matters to her at this very moment.
2 more strikes, and it would be a game of 227, which would force Carol Norman, as we mentioned, who is working on a strike, to come up with 20 pins. So it'd either be a spare strike, or if she obviously strikes, then she's in, basically. A double in the 10th, and it would be all over. But you have to admire this 24-year-old from Daly City, California, who has come storming back here in the latter stages to make a game of it.
She's She's never given up on this game. She knows that all she needs to do is make good shots, make those strikes, and she'll at least put a little pressure on Carroll.
Well, she could finish with the last 7. One has to wonder if she's thinking back to the second and the third, when she missed back-to-back 10 pins and missed them badly.
The first one was worse than the second one. You can see she made the adjustment, but not having shot the spare on the right lane, she didn't know.
Carol Norman has to show up in the 10th this time because Kim Terrell takes it right off the sheet and finishes with the last 7 for a marvelous comeback game of 227. But the burning question now is, will it be enough?
Carol has performed under this type of pressure even recently.
Well, I think this is what all the players hope and dream for. You walk up and throw a strike in the 10th to win a match and head on to the title game. Accelerates through it, comes up a little light, and leaves the 10. Good shot, hit the pocket, but now she needs a spare and a strike to win. A spare and 9.
Is a tie. Again. Oh, Denny.
What?
She did this the last time she was on the show.
History repeats itself.
I guess. I don't think Carol's too pleased with history repeating itself.
Well, she's had a solid game. 10 pins in the 2nd, 7th, and 8th. Hasn't missed the pocket.
No, it's the only thing she's been shooting is 10 pins.
And up on her tippy toes as she makes the 10 pin in the 10th.
That had to be an awfully tough shot for her, Denny. She made a pretty good shot at that. You were wondering right there, but she did turn it enough, and she was wondering herself, and thank you very much.
All right, the scenario at this point, the stage, a strike, and Kim Terrell is finished for the evening. Carol Norman moves on to the championship game, a 9, and we go into overtime. 8, and Carol Norman's a loser. And we didn't mention it. Kim Terrell comes back out of nowhere to win the semifinal game. And she is as surprised as the rest of the crowd here is at Inca Lanes in Yuma, Arizona. Next up, it's Lisa Wagner and Kim Terrell for the Yuma Open title. And welcome back, everybody, to Inca Lanes in Yuma, Arizona. Just 2 players left, the top seed, Lisa Wagner and Kim Terrell, who used up 1 of her 9 lives in the semifinal game.
Oh, that she did, Denny. She pulled that squeaker out.
Boy, she did an unbelievable 227-225 win over Carol Norman. Now she's up against the top seed, and Lisa Wagner comes out strong with a strike in the first.
Well, after watching the last couple matches, I'm sure Lisa figures out that the only way to get there is to strike.
I better start with the first 9.
At least. Then you might have a chance.
Well, let's see how this youngster handles the pressure of the championship game. Last week she was the top seed and was defeated. This week she's the challenger. And I have a feeling she's going to be tough to beat.
Well, she answers with one of her own here, Denny. She's got a little bit more experience right now, so.
And as we take a look at what has transpired thus far this evening, Carol Norman defeating Tori Romeo 212-184. Then Carol came back, had 10 strikes in game number 2 to knock off Stacy Rider 246-193. And then out of nowhere, Kim Terrell finished with the last 7 strikes, and she edges Carol Norman in the semifinal game just to get to the championship, which is where we are right now in the second frame. And through the nose, it was thumping all the way on the thumb hole. She leaves the 4-6, and this is virtually unmakeable.
Yes, it is, Denny. As soon as she threw this shot, I think she knew that she tugged it a little bit, pulled it a little bit, however you want to, whatever you want to say here. You could see her shaking her head because it went left of her target, right through the heart of the pins. And the 4-6, the best she's going to do here is pick up 1 and not be real happy with herself.
She was hoping for some kind of a breakup. Didn't happen, so an open frame in the second for Kim Terrell, but hey, she opened in the second and the third in the semifinal game and came back and won, so why not do it in the title match?
It may put just that extra little bit of pressure on her that she needs to make her concentrate harder. Everybody reacts differently. That might be what happened last game.
Well, if you look at that graphic and you say, well, gee, she's only 8 and 9 from the top seed position, that's really not too bad. As you look back on both the LPBT and PBA tours, for players who have been the top seeds a number of times, 50% victory is not too bad, actually. And Lisa gets the big-time break, kicks out the 4 into the 9. She's got a double and a big smile.
She certainly does. She's going to be a little bit more relaxed now. She knows she can let the ball swing here. Lisa's got this beautiful classic game. She's a 5-step delivery. Extends that ball real well. Nice, smooth arm swing, deep knee bend, comes through that shot. Very, very solid at the line. You see that ball enter the pocket high, something tripped the 4, that went over, tripped the 9.
Headpin took out the 4, and then the 4 finished up the job. Never looks like she's rushing a thing. Watch this kind of poetry in motion. Ball gets to the line just after the foot. And a little high, leaves the 6-pin. Just a fluid arm swing.
One of the most classic games I've ever seen in my entire life.
You know, it's very natural. There's not a whole lot that's forced. Even when she does, it doesn't look like it.
And there's not a lot of things to go wrong in it either.
Some interesting numbers there. All-time leading money winner as well on the LPBT tour. But she is 0 for 2 from the top seed position. The last couple of tries, lost both times last year from the number 1 slot, and I think at this point she'd like to go 9 and 9. Start the new year off the right way.
Give her a boost for the rest of the tournaments for this 1990 season.
LPBT Player of the Year in 1988, and really came back and had a solid year last year, but Robin Romeo had such a terrific year that there was no way Lisa could end up winning back-to-back. Cheryl Daniels also with a tremendous year in 89. Kim Terrell likes lane 36, another strike there, but with the open in the second, she trails by 21.
Denny, that was a great shot. When you come back from an open frame like Kim did, you're going to concentrate a little bit harder. And that's exactly what she did. She went through the shot real well. Extends. She's really getting that ball down the lane. The ball rotates exactly where she wants it to, and 10 and a bit.
Reminiscent of the frozen rope. She's not giving that ball the opportunity to go right or left. She's just kind of lining up and whistling that thing right at the pocket.
Well, it worked for her in the last couple of frames of the last game, so.
Turns it over a little bit, though. The ball's got to be hooking a little bit early, I think, on the left-hand lane, as Dad would agree.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason why in the beginning of the first game that we saw her in, she seemed to have speeded up the ball a little bit and left the weak 10, the first one that she missed. And it's probably because that lane is hooking a little bit.
She's tugged the last couple. I just wonder if she feels like she has no area to the right on the left-hand lane.
That's a possibility, Denny. As you said, it's kind of like a frozen rope, and if she realizes the speed and going straight for the pocket is going to carry, why not continue to do it?
So a spare up in the 4th for Kim Terrell. Lisa Wagner opened with a double. And then spared in the 3rd, leads by 21. Her husband Kent on hand all this week, taking a week off the PBA tour to help Lisa out, and obviously that worked out well.
Lisa likes for him to come in. Lisa said he helps her out when she wants him to. She needs to ask him before he'll volunteer anything, which is nice.
And the nice thing is as well, whenever he's bowling on the men's tour and she's not, Lisa will come out and watch Kent bowl. There he is.
I can speak from experience in saying that it's real nice to have a spouse who understands what's going on in your life, in your career. And if you've missed the cut by 1 pin or he has, you know exactly what's going on in that other person's mind.
Gonna take a little guess here and prognosticate. He's going to win the Indianapolis 500 in 1995.
I bet you he'd like to.
Yeah, I know he would. Loves automobile racing and is involved a little bit right now.
Lisa likes it just as well. She'd love to get out there and race cars.
Right now, she is putting the pedal to the metal. Or is it the metal to the pedal? Whatever.
She's putting 10 pins in the pit and X's up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, she's striking right now. Changing gears. She's shifted into a little higher level right now. She doubled open the match, doubled now in the 4th and the 5th, and leads about 31. Obviously approving, and Kim is not going to give it back.
You're never going to give back a break like that one. She pulled the ball an awful lot to the left, and then it hooked to the left, and then she gets this break, and the 9 pins the last one out. She's not going to give it back, though. Not at all.
And watching her last week, and then again tonight, it appears as if getting a little quick with the feet, a little quick with the tempo, not waiting on it. But that's going to happen when you're under the kind of pressure that she is. A little better rhythm with that shot.
Much better shot than it.
Yeah, she slowed it down.
Slowed it down, let the ball swing better. She waited for it at the foul line rather than trying to pull it through.
Toughest thing in the world, you're right. It's almost like in golf when you hit from the top. You do the same thing in bowling. You grab that thing at the top of the swing and you start trying to yank it through, and the reaction is never very good.
No, they call that pushing the ball, because then the ball starts to slide too long down the lane before it goes into its rotation. Then it doesn't do anything for you.
Both players working on a double. Lisa leads by 21 midway through the championship game of the $35,000 Yuma Open. Asking for some help, and she gets it. A little wave of the right hand. Maybe that's what you have to do, Chris.
It's body language, Denny. We dance and we run them out and we knock them over with everything that we possibly can.
All right, now strolling along. If she would strike out, shoot 279, and that's enough to win.
At this point, it would be plenty.
Threw the ball through the nose in the 3rd frame. Left the 6 pin. Fortunate to leave just the 6. The Open for Kim Terrell, a 4-6 on the left-hand lane. Ooh, a solid strike. And notice has just been served that Mrs. Wagner wants entitled number 24.
She wants to improve on that 0 in 2.
Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, the ladies will be back live on ESPN on Thursday night, April 5th. Jot that one down. 9 consecutive Thursday night shows. We're looking forward to it. Better shot. Doesn't quite get back to the head pin, though. I think Kim a little disappointed in that one. A time of reflection for the young right-hander from Daly City, former Team USA member, former All-America player at San Jose State University, and the LPBT's Rookie of the Year. What else can we say?
Well, that she's very talented.
Good.
Nice gal. Very sweet gal. Lots and lots of good things are going to happen for her. That's not one of them, though, Denny. Not at all.
Owens, her father, looking on, realizing that trailing and coming from behind and perhaps defeating Carol Norman might be one thing if you get a break, but when you're down by 35 or 40 to Lisa Wagner, who's lined up and you miss, you're in trouble.
This shot, Denny, I think surprised her a little bit. She really accelerated through her release, but the ball hooked an awful lot and just picked that 3-pin right off the 5. Didn't make her very happy, that's for sure.
Storming back with a strike in the 8th, but 214 would be the optimum score for Kim Terrell. Meanwhile, Lisa Wagner, as we mentioned, is eyeing 279.
Lisa just even needs to stay clean, and Kim can't catch her.
Mm-hmm. Shot after another as she is sealing the tomb at this stage, and rightfully so. This is her 64th career appearance in the championship round.
That's an awful lot of times to be on television, Denny.
Kent, her husband, has just walked past the broadcast booth and given me the thumbs up at this stage.
I think it's safe to say that this title belongs to Mrs. Wagner here.
Mm-hmm. First title in 1990, and if I were a betting man, and of course I'm not, I would venture to say she might maybe win one or two more.
I would say that's a very safe bet.
Or at least get to the championship game. Right now, she's just humming fastballs. Right down Broadway. And while we're on the subject of winning bowlers here this week at Inca Lanes in Yuma, Peggy Hampton, the proud owner of the beautiful trophy and a check worth $600. Kathy doing the honors there. I love to see people smile when they give away money.
There's nothing else to do but smile.
You're right.
Especially if you're getting it, too.
If you're on the opposite end, sure. A little better speed control. Perfect reaction. I think when Kim goes back and looks at this championship game, she'll realize that maybe just got a little bit too quick. Maybe just, and that's so easy to do, to step up your tempo a little bit when that adrenaline gets flowing and you get pumped up.
Not just when your adrenaline gets flowing and you get pumped up, but you're behind because you have that open, and you're behind to one of the best players in the world, Lisa Wagner.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the shot in the second, she stands up, rushes up, and throws a bad shot, leaves a 4-6. If she's into her rhythm and her timing, maybe she strikes right there and puts the pressure back on. Bowling in the championship game is not easy, and it's something pretty have to learn to do, I think, in the long run. And we'll take a break here because we have a winner. It's Lisa Wagner as she captures the $35,000 Yuma Open. Career title number 24. How many more? Who knows?
I'm not the kind of guy to mess with my hair, and I'm sure not going to mess with shampoo.